What's going on, everyone? My name is D. Anthony with Evolution Traders. I'm a full-time options trader as well as prop firm funded futures trader with Top Step and Apex. Now, I've been trading for 9 years, so I've dealt with all of the problems that you guys have struggled with. And to be honest, I still struggle with problems 9 years later. So there's really never, that magic crystal clear moment where everything is clear and you never lose again and you just, are this perfect professional trader. We all still deal with things, but what happens along the way from when you first start trading to when you have that mental clarity and self-awareness, you're able to actually fix the problems if you allow yourself to fix the problems. Now, many of you guys already understand what your problem is, but either it's ego or it's greed or it's fear or it's something emotional or maybe it's financial that is not allowing you to accept that fact and actually work towards it. So in this video, we're going to be talking about just one of the biggest problems that a lot of traders have, and that's greed. So with greed comes a lot of over trading. With greed comes a lot of sizing too heavily. With greed comes the need to want to fit in, right? The need for making those big gains so you can feel like you're doing something right, so you can share it with your friends or people that you've told that you've been learning how to trade, or with your spouse or your coworkers or your friends. How many of you guys have sat there and told your coworkers or your wife or your spouse that you're going to get this one day, and when you do, you're going to make all of this money, or you have a better understanding. Maybe in your inner circle of friends, you know more than them, but you are still failing. You are still not succeeding. There's a reason for that, and more than likely, it could be a little bit of greed, right? So I want to give you guys some kind of concepts or some exercises or some knowledge that you guys can start to maybe implement on a day in and day out basis so you can understand yourself and be more self-aware. But you need to, and we'll just get right into it, you need to define clear targets, okay? So what does that mean? Based on your trading capital, right? Because without capital, we can't trade. Based on your trading capital, you need to define and lay out realistic expectations. And that means that if you have let's say you're trading on a prop firm and you're funded with a $50,000 account, just because you're funded on a $50,000 account does not mean you're going to go out there and make $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month. Be realistic. What is 2%, 3%, 4%? What are those returns? And even some of those, returns, 4%, 5%, 6%, although they can happen, it's not realistic long term. Now, there's scalable ways that where making even just 2% on more capital can be very, very good money, like extremely good money. Like 2% on $1 million is a hell of a lot better than 2% on $50,000, right? So having realistic expectations for yourself, like if you have a funded account and you're making $500 a month, that's 2%. That's fantastic. Like those gains are great. What do you need to do to make more money? You need to increase your capital. So that 2% is now 1,000. That 1,000 is now 1,500, if that makes sense. Very simple. I'll cover it really quickly, but stop losses, right? So stop losses are different than your risk. A lot of people think because they have a stop loss that that's their defined risk, but your actual defined risk is the number of contracts or the number of shares or whatever, instrument you're trading. That's your risk. So make sure you always have a stop loss, but make sure you are tailoring your risk to that potential stop loss. If you're a trader like myself who has a dynamic stop loss, where sometimes my stop loss on the future side of things is 15 points and sometimes it's 40 points, maybe 45 points, I have to adjust my risk to be able to take that trade. So make sure you're adjusting your risk based on your stop loss. That's going to control greed because it's not going to allow you to get blown out to where it's going to give you that feeling of, I need to get back into the next trade. You also need to visualize, okay? You need to visualize success, but more importantly, you need to visualize failure. So I think a lot of traders visualize success almost too much, where that's all you're kind of focusing all of your visualization on, right? All of your dreams, all of your motivation, everything is coming from the success part, but you're not really spending enough time on the failures. You're dealing with failures and you're having those stresses, but you're not really understanding that failure is a part of this business and it's going to happen a lot. But you don't need to look at failure as a loss, like as if you don't know what you're doing. You need to, every trade you take, put yourself in a situation where this trade's going to lose, and I'm okay with that outcome. If I lose this trade, I'm only going to be down $200. And based on my risk management and my account size, that's nothing, because I'm going to get it back in another 2, 3, or 4 trades and I'll actually be profitable. So put yourself in visualization mode where you see both sides of the potential outcome before you're even in the trade. There's a lot of people who find a good setup, the price of the stock is moving or the price of the futures market is moving. You take that trade, but you didn't realize that you were going to lose $500 on the trade if it went bad. All you seen was the good. You never factored in the bad. So make sure when you're visualizing things, make sure you factor in what the potential outcome is on the good side, but also on the bad side. Reviewing past trades is also another one. So I know a lot of you guys sometimes, especially if you're scalping and you're playing the NQ or the futures market, you guys may be taking 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 20, 30 trades a day. Are you really going back and looking at them, each trade individually? Are you making notations on what you did right? Did you follow your process? Yes or no? Did you size accordingly based on your stop loss? Yes or no? What did you feel when you were in a trade? Are you going through these? And then once you're going through that information, are you actually looking at the chart? Did you do everything correctly and the move or the trade just didn't pan out? That's fine. There's no harm, no foul. Or did you deviate from the process and you got squirrely and started letting emotions come involved? There's that right there is your problem. That's what you need to fix, right? Again, so a trading journal would definitely help with that. And then, simulating trades, right? So simulating trades, what does that mean? Maybe you're having a little bit of a dry spell, but instead of going to like a paper account and trading paper, because there's no emotions really involved to that, there's no money tied into that. Definitely, if you're on a prop firm, buy an evaluation or, trade one contract. If you're normally trading 5, trade 1, trade a micro. If you're trading stocks or equities, trade 1 share. Put yourself in the move, but allow the move to kind of work out, because when you're trading such small amounts of dollars, there's really no emotions attached to it at all. And you're going to also have that where you need to overcome those losses and those feelings, and you're going to kind of get to see, exactly what you're doing right or wrong. So simulate the markets by trading such small a size that where even if you lose 100 points on the NASDAQ, you're not even going to care about it because it's so minuscule, right? And who's going to sit through a 100-point loser? I don't think anyone. So allow yourself to go through the process, allow yourself to go through taking breaks, right? So a lot of people who have issues with greed, they don't get their butt off of this chair, or they don't get their phone out of their palm. They're constantly looking for the next move, constantly. The more you trade doesn't necessarily mean the more money you're going to make. Sometimes you might take a trade. I kid you not. In the first 5 minutes of the market, it's a winning trade. Sometimes, if you want to control greed, you have to just turn your whole screen off, log out of your platform, log out of your broker, do whatever, and just come back tomorrow. Well, what if I missed another beautiful trade 2 hours later? So what? Leave some out there for the rest of us, right? That's how I always kind of look at it. Sometimes I'll take a couple trades in the first hour, and then I'll kind of just tell myself, do I really want to trade, or can I just stop here, right? I think that compounding, $200-$300 a day, or $100 a day, or $50 a day is a hell of a lot better than being down $300 or $400 or $500 because I over traded and I put on too much size or risk, right? Also, you want to reward discipline, right? Because in this business, without discipline, you will fail. And I'm just going to be completely honest. I don't care how well you read order flow or how well, you know how to play supply and demand. I don't care what's on your chart. There's no magic strategy out there that is going to work 100%. You're always going to take losers. You're never going to understand this market. No one is ever going to understand this market. But what you need to do is reward discipline. So if you do have a day where you do everything correctly, and whether it was a winning day or a losing day, you need to reward that discipline. So that way you're creating a psychological kind of balance, an association with reward and doing the right thing versus You could take a bad trade, go against all your trading rules. I'll give you a scenario. You can take 2 trades, both of them are losers. Let's say you're down 500 bucks. You oversize. Let's say you were playing micro contracts and you're down $500. You can play 3 mini contracts in another setup and you can win $2,000. You are going to reward yourself for having a green day, thinking that you did something on the markets that's spectacular. But what you really did is rewarded bad trading habits. Reward good trading habits. Associate discipline with reward. So when you have a great day, I'm not saying everyone out there is, I shouldn't even probably promote that. Let's say this. Okay, let's say this. I was gonna use an analogy, but I don't think I should use it for YouTube. Let's say you have a great day, you had discipline, you were up 150 bucks, and you said, you know what? It's only been an hour of the market, but I did really good for myself today. I'm going to practice not being greedy, and I'm going to turn my screen off. Go take yourself out to the best breakfast place that you like in town. Go buy yourself that coffee. Go out for a round of golf. You know, tell the wife that you lit some candles and you guys are going to get busy tonight. You know, do something to reward discipline. Don't reward the P&L. So just because you have a $2,000 winning day today, did you do everything correctly, or did you just reward bad habits? I hope that makes sense. And obviously the last one, and I'm going to kick off here because I don't want this video to be too long, is you need to constantly and continuously be learning. So education, I believe, is key. Mindset development is key. Psychological and emotional development is key. Get yourself around other traders, whether you have a trading buddy back home, whether you need to join a community, whether you need to hire a coach. I don't care what it is, but you need to be around people that are better than you. Do you think that Michael Jordan became one of the best basketball players ever because he spent more time practicing and doing the right thing? Of course, 100%. But he also played in an era where people weren't afraid to give him a nudge. He also played in an era where it was one of the toughest eras of the game of basketball, and that elevated his game naturally in conjunction with a naturally born competitive person. What is that going to do by putting yourself around other people who are competitive as well? It's going to elevate your game. Let's put it this way. Okay, let's put it this way. Let's break down another analogy. If you have a varsity high school football player playing on a freshman team, although it would be immoral, but do you think that a varsity high school running back will outrun, again, you could be wrong, you could have an amazing freshman, but they should be able to outperform a freshman team and that talent? Yes, right? I mean, we can all kind of agree on that. Now, again, don't come at me with, I know a great freshman kid who could play on varsity. That's great. And those kids are out there. But what I'm saying is, in general, you should be able to, if you're 17, 18 years old, you should be able to run all over a bunch of 13 and 14-year-olds. Does that make sense? Is that going to make him any better, though? Right? No, it's not. Or should he play at the level he's designed to be at? And if he's good enough, elevate himself to the next level and go to college. I know a ton of guys who were great athletes in high school. They get to college, they never see the playing field because they're just playing with guys who are better than them. But eventually they do if they put in the work and they get around the right people and have the right mindset. They can elevate their game. So continuously try to be learning, get yourself around better people, get yourself your closest group of core 5 people that you talk to on a daily basis. That's who you are. If you are better than every single person you talk to in your inner circle when it comes to trading, or your inner circle when it comes to friends and family, how do you think you're going to perform? Because most of you guys out there are the only person in your inner 5 people that trades personally back home, right? Think about this. You are probably the only person who knows the markets better than everyone else. You're probably the only person who's traded. You're probably the only person who takes, studying this market on a day-to-day basis. So naturally, you're going to think that you're a know-it-all and that you are better than everyone else. But realistically, get yourself in a room with people who are more profitable and consistent than you, and you're going to start to see things in a different light. You're going to start to naturally elevate your game because you're trading around other people who are doing the same thing you're doing, and you're not the center of attention now in your inner circle at the dinner table. Think about that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would love to hear you guys' feedback. If you would love to work with me, my link is down in the description box below. I've got one space left for 2023 going into 2024. If you want to take advantage, definitely take advantage because it won't last long. I'm getting a lot of emails right now, actually. So I'm trying to sift through these and answer questions and get back to people. But again, it is a first come first serve basis. My room is very small because I like to keep it very small because I want to be able to work with the traders that are in my room. I don't just want a bunch of people in here who don't know what to do and are just out there by themselves. So we work very closely together. So if you would like to take the opportunity, I do have one space left. We did have 2 people who joined this week. So again, I said earlier this week or last week, I think, that I was going to do 3 spots before 2024, just to kind of make sure that we're on the right page going into the new year. I'll see all of you guys on the inside.